Hi, everyone. The purpose of today's short video is to discuss the multimodal virtual anthology. What you're going to be doing is creating a multimodal virtual anthology about the Christian scriptures. You may use a Google site, which I'm going to showcase a little bit later, a Google slideshow, or a Google Doc to put your anthology together. So before we move forward, we need to answer the question, what is a multimodal virtual anthology? Well, multimodal means multiple modes. In this case, it signifies text plus visuals and or sounds and or film. So it's text plus something else. Virtual means online. So you're going to be creating this online. An anthology is something you may be acquainted with in another one of your English classes or another class that you have. It's a collection of readings that is encapsulated within a text written by one or more editors who analyze and synthesize the text being shared. They identify patterns or place the text choices within a historical reference or a genre group or something else. So they're putting these texts together for a purpose, for a specific audience to help them understand something. So for example, in my African American literature class, I use an anthology that is historical and it is placed within the history of the United States from the time of slavery forward. And so there's certain types of texts that are included, and there's discussion about who created the text, why they created it, some historical information, some information about the literature itself. So the reason why you're creating this is that it's going to allow you to research, which is part of what you're supposed to do in this class is research, but you're going to research the topics that you find to be important and showcase further knowledge of the Bible as literature for your peers, myself, and a chosen audience. So you need to think about who would be someone that you would like to read your anthology. How are we going to do this? Well, you're going to be doing this at the same time as you're working on other units, which are going to support your creation of the anthology. So over several weeks, you're going to research the topics included in the prompt overview. There will be 4 due dates in which you will submit drafts or parts of your project. And then your final edited and revised draft is due during week 14. So our prompt overview is that you're going to be working on this virtual anthology and you're going to include information about the following topics. So you will identify why and how you're going to put together your anthology here, but you do have to include some items. You have to include a painting or sculpture or building. You need to include a film that we have viewed or will be viewing. You need to include a hymn, and I've given you some choices here. You need to include a miracle of Jesus, a parable of Jesus, either the Sermon on the Mount or the Lord's Prayer, one of the letters by those who build the church after the death of Jesus. And then you can choose a topic of choice. It could be something else entirely not included here, or a second one of the required topics, such as maybe another film or another hymn or another miracle or a parable. Or if you chose the Sermon on the Mount, you include something about the Lord's Prayer. So these are your topics. So what should be included? So for each topic, you're going to write a brief history of 300 plus words using at least 2 sources. So you're going to check the library for a couple of sources about your topic. And the history that you're going to include is up to you, because each of these things includes a longer history. You're also going to include a visual, a short film that you found or created, an infographic or a meme, etc., that is discussed in your reflection or close reading. Okay. So what you're going to do also for your topic, so you'll have the brief history, you'll have your multimodal aspect of it, and then you're going to compose either a short reflection of why you chose it, or you're going to do a close reading. And I have a link to what a close reading is. A lot of what we're doing in class includes close reading, such as your hypothesis annotations. Those are close readings. So you're going to do 300 words for this part as well. So I'm asking you to, for each of your topics, to do either the reflection or the close reading for these topics that you have to do. You need to choose to do at least 3 close readings. You may do more, but I need to see an illustration of a close reading here. So again, before you start, consider who your audience would be. Who would you want to read this? And please know that you should consider an intention or a theme or more that ties this anthology together. So finally, what's going to happen is you're going to also include a cover that you create. You're going to include a short introduction that discusses the intention or theme that is directed at the audience. And you're going to continue to create, as you go along, a works cited that is alphabetized, that is added to as you are writing about each of these topics. So what else do you need to know? You are going to be sharing your work with our class and participating in brief peer reviews. There are going to be due dates. You're going to be submitting your work in chunks. So during week 6, you're going to include the first draft of at least 3 topics with your work cited. And you can choose to do these topics in any order that you choose. The first draft of 3 or more topics will be due during week 9. And again, you'll update your work cited with additional sources. During week 12, you'll have the first draft of at least the last 2 topics. You'll include your cover and introduction. And then during week 14, you'll have your final revised draft. Now, I want to point out that there's a lot of room to be creative here. So I hope you feel inspired by this project as opposed to wondering what your choices are. There's a lot of choice here that you can include, and I hope that you'll take this choice and be inspired to create something meaningful for you. This will be worth 30% of your grade, and I'm looking for your sincere efforts for meaningful work that meets the parameters of the project that are laid out here. If you're able to do that, I'm certain that you're going to do well. And what is great about this particular project is that it will meet the SLOs for our course, every single one, because you're going to demonstrate an understanding of the historical context. You're going to write about various types of writing that are included in the Bible, as well as hymns and art, etc. You're going to identify a theme that you're going to choose or an intention. You're going to analyze your chosen passages, art piece, and hymn. And then you're going to produce college level writing that demonstrates appropriate use of primary and secondary sources and use correct MLA format and documentation. So I want to take a moment to go back to how you're going to put this together. And it's going to be virtual. So you will be either using a Google site, Google Slideshow, or a Google Doc to put your anthology together. You can choose any of these, but I do want to encourage you to think about a Google site. So this is our syllabus in our Google, and it's a Google site, and it includes various pages. It has video included and various texts and visuals. I want to show you behind the curtain so that you can take a look at what a Google site looks like. So I'm going to click on the edit page here. And what you're going to notice is that there's a place where you can insert pieces, including text boxes, images. You can embed videos or other texts, websites, etc. It gives some layouts that you can choose to use, but you can also edit and move around things. And then there are things that you can include, such as an image carousel, a button, a divider, YouTube videos, maps, docs, slides, sheets, etc. You also can include pages. And so every time you can add a page. You click on plus, and then there's a page here. And then you go back to insert, and you can populate your page. You can also choose various themes or create your own custom theme. And so there's a lot that you can do here. And you can also look up on YouTube how to create a Google site. And once you start to work on it, you'll be able to see that there's a lot of things that you can do with it. It's very useful. And what's neat is on the top, I can change my image. If you start to move your mouse down, you'll see that there's selection colors. You can duplicate sections. You can delete sections. And once you put the section in, you can even move it around by clicking on the grabber and moving it different places. And as you go along, you can choose to publish it. You can view the published site. You can publish it. You want to be able to share it with others, where you allow people to be able to view what you've done. So in a nutshell, that's what you'll be doing. It's very exciting. And the units that we're working on are meant to help support you as you work on your multimodal virtual anthology.